think Harry Potter should be considered a Christmas movie.
Why?
They always show it during Christmas time, and we're watching a Christmas scene.
Just because it has a Christmas scene doesn't make it a Christmas movie.
Well, yeah, but John McClane...
Don't bring up Die Hard. It is not a Christmas movie.
Them are fighting words. Alright, I have Harry Potter House Cup competition on the table here. This comes from the Op Games. And in this game, you are going to be one of the houses at Hogwarts. Either the Gryffindors, the Hufflepuffs, the Ravenclaws, or the Slytherins. And you are going to be sending your top students to the different classes, trying to become as best they can in those classes, earning the most points to become the House Cup champion. And this is a worker placement game. You are going to be, like I said, sending out your students, who are essentially your workers, to the different spaces on the board. This game lasts 7 rounds, as indicated here on this bottom track. And each round, one by one, starting with whoever is the first player who has this token, they will pick one of their different students that are real characters from the movies and books. You can see the ones for the Gryffindors that I have here on my board. There are also characters for, this would be the Hufflepuffs, the Ravenclaws, and of course the Slytherins. So there you go. You will send your workers out one by one in any order you want. It doesn't have to be your top worker, it could be any of your workers, to the different places on the board. And essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to level up your stats. This icon right here tells you that you can level up in one class. And so if I were to put my worker here, first I would have to pay what is listed here on this space. 2 knowledge tokens and a magical hat token. And you find those over here. You get these throughout the course of the game through different activities. But anyhow, this would let me level up in 2 different classes. And so the classes that there are for each student, you have potions, that's this top one. You have charms class, this middle one. And then you have defense against the dark arts. And you can see here that we are going to go from level 1, which is where we start out, all the way up to level 7. And you want to try to get your stats as high as you can, because these stats are what allow you to complete lessons as well as challenges, the 2 main ways that you gain points throughout the course of the game. And so I might level up my defense against the dark arts and let's say my charms. Now, when you place a student, before placing a student or after placing a student, you have the option to try and learn a lesson. Now, lesson cards are found over here on this side of the board. They come in 2 different varieties. You have your easy lessons, your basic lessons, which are easier ones. And you have your more advanced lessons, which are more difficult. And to look at a lesson, let's look at this one up here. You would have to have this card in hand, and you could play it before you placed a student or after you placed a student. But that student that you place has to meet the qualifications that are listed here on this card. So for instance, this is cast a cheering charm. You have to be level 2 in charms to be able to do this. So Harry Potter here is level 2, and so I could play this and I would gain whatever's listed here in the bottom. So I would gain a magic hat, and we would place it right here, lesson discard, and I would gain a magic hat, which would come right here on my knowledge and magic. That's how the lesson cards work. As you can imagine, the more advanced ones, the stats are a little bit higher and they would get you more things. Now, this one in particular says that you have to be a level 4 in defense against the dark arts, but you also have to discard 1 magic hat and you're going to gain 20 points. Now, points are kept track with these gems here. Each gem is worth 10 points. So if we were to play this card right here, we would get 2 gems in our house color. So we would get 2 gems and they would go in our vial here for our team, like so. And that's pretty much how you keep track of who's winning in this game. Whoever has the most gems in their vial at the end is going to be the winner. Some of the other spaces on the board, You can level up in specific classes and gain challenge cards if you come here to this classroom. Now, the challenge cards are very similar to the lesson cards, except these are going to take place at the end of a round. After everyone has placed all of their students, each player will have the chance to attempt 1 or 2 easy challenges, or 1 hard challenge, or 1 of each. You can't do 2 hard challenges, though. And so these challenges, again, you have to meet the qualifications. Now, you can put more than 1 student to each challenge. However, each student can only be used once. So I might put 2 different students to try and defeat this one. If, say, 1 student had 2 and the other had 3, then I would have 5 total to be able to defeat Transfigure the Boggart and the Wardrobe. And I would gain whatever's listed here on the bottom. Now, this icon tells me to gain a basic lesson card, and I would get 2 points. This hard challenge card, enter number 12 Grimmauld Place. I would have to have these stats here, and then I would need to discard 2 knowledge tokens. I would gain an advanced lesson, and I would get 4 gems to put in my vial. That's how these challenges work. Again, that's at the end of a round after you've placed all your workers. Some of the other places you can go throughout the course of the game, the professor's office generally gives you magic tokens, but you can also take the first player token. You can gain lesson cards, or you can gain the hard challenge cards. The library is generally going to give you knowledge tokens and possibly challenge cards or lesson cards. Now, there is some variety in this game in the way you set it up. There are these cards that you will take. There is a single icon deck, which one of them will go right here as part of setup. This happens to be platform 9 3/4, and you have to discard a knowledge to go here to gain what's listed here on this. You will then, in round 2, reveal this location, which happens to be Gringotts Bank. And you'll have to be a level 3 in one of your classes in order to send a worker here to gain the knowledge tokens. And in level 4, you'll reveal another 2 icon location. All these 2 icon locations are going to have some higher requirements to get to them. This is Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. Choose any of your students to gain 2 leveling up in the highest class it has. So that's nice. And then lastly, in round 6, you'll reveal this one that always has 2 spots to go to, but you're going to need to be level 5 in something. And this is Malfoy Manor. And you can see there, you get just straight 3 points if you go to that spot right there. Speaking of level 5, there is one thing I forgot to mention. In order to level up to level 5, you have to discard a magic hat. So if I wanted to go here or any higher, I'm going to have to discard a magic hat token, which I just happen to have right here, and then I could level up. That's pretty much how the game works. As I've already said, whoever has the most gems in their vial at the end of round 7 is the winner, and that is how you play Harry Potter House Cup Competition. All right, so here's Sam and I doing a 2-player playthrough of Harry Potter House Cup Competition. And I know this video is a little bit different than what you usually see, and it's probably not running as fast as it usually is in our videos. So we had some technical difficulties filming this one. So this is what you get in this video. Right now we're going to share our thoughts. Sam, what did you think about this game?
Well, I love the theme of Harry Potter. We haven't played a game like that before, and I love Harry Potter. I loved getting to see the different characters and choose your different houses. I really liked the house cups, how you could...
The vials with the jewels.
Yeah, I liked that. It just added a little bit of a interesting element to it. I'm not sure what Lance is trying to do to me, though, because the last couple games have all been worker placement, and I think you all know that that is just not my cup of tea.
But it's so fun.
This one was a more simplistic worker placement game, though. There wasn't lots and lots of different options. It almost might have been too simplistic, though.
Yeah.
But it was easy to understand. It was fairly easy to learn, but maybe too simplistic.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to agree with just about everything Sam is saying here, that this is a very basic worker placement game. And That being said, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad game. It's just a game that I think would actually, honestly, probably be a good game to play with non-gamers. I'm going to go ahead and throw out my opinion here at the beginning of the review. I think this would be a good game to play with non-gamers or new people to worker placement games. Especially,
yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, especially those who are really into Harry Potter. I think this would be a really good game to play with them because you're basically making a choice between three things just about every time. Do I want to get magic? Do I want to get knowledge? Do I want to level up in some sort of class? And obviously when you're leveling up in the class, you have to choose which student and which class. So there's a little bit more than just three options, but that's pretty much it, what you're doing each time. Now that being said, I don't know that I would ever really play this with anybody who really does play games. And I don't know how many times I would play this beyond 1 or 2 times playing it with a non-gamer.
I just feel like it needed a little bit something else. And that's coming from someone who really doesn't like worker placement games and considers herself a non-gamer. I still felt like it needed something else, at the end at least.
Yeah, I think there needed to be a twist or an element to add into this. Maybe player powers for each student when they level up to a certain degree. Or just some other element that could have been added to this game to provide an extra twist. For 7 rounds to kind of have the same thing, and really the only thing you're adding is new locations, which still generally do about the same actions each time. I don't know, just again, I don't know how many times I would play this before feeling like I'm doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, or even maybe if they made it like less rounds, like 4, a much simpler game, and then you could play with, younger players, more non-gamers. I think you need to be careful choosing a game with a theme, and I've said that before. I know some people wouldn't agree with that. They think the theme and the is really important. I don't. I feel like, you go in thinking, oh, this is going to be so Harry Potter, I'm going to feel like I'm in the movie or in the book, and you're not always going to get that. And I feel like with this game, it's a little pasted on.
Okay.
Not totally. We've definitely played games where it's like you don't see the theme at all throughout the game. You see it here, but it's just not super deep.
Yeah, I think what I would say on the theme part here is that it does a good job of incorporating the IP, the intellectual property, Harry Potter, the houses, the different characters that you remember from the books and movies. It does a good job of showcasing those. I think with the mechanics that it uses, it doesn't really tie in too well with you really feeling like you're learning more magic or you're really competing against one another in spells and challenges. Like it just kind of feels a little bit going through the motions to get to that point.
Yeah, especially by the time you get to round 6 and 7.
So let's get into our ratings on this game. Scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. Sam, what do you give this game?
I give it a 6.1.
Okay, there you go. All right. I'm going to give this game a 6.7. As I've already stated, there are some good things about this. There's a little bit of a nostalgia factor of bringing back Harry Potter. But it's a game that I don't know how often I'll really get to the table, and I don't know that I'll play too often with heavy gamers, more so with non-gamers or people who really like Harry Potter. All right, Sam, my thoughts on this question. Would this be a game that you would recommend playing with non-gamers?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely a great introduction to worker placement. So I think it's a good one to start with non-gamers.
All right, there you have it.
Please make sure to like and subscribe and push the bell button so you can be reminded when we put new content out, which is about 2 to 3 times a week.
All right, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.